So as we get started and settled in, first oil I'm going to use, if you're joining me with oils today, is I'm going to use copaiba. So copaiba, soothing, nutty, kind of woody aroma, and when taken internally, supports the immune system and the cardiovascular system. A really great one that can actually be used on animals as well. So whatever you're using, close into the eyes. Taking a few breaths here. Now, if you're not using oils, hands can just go down onto the waist, or sorry, onto the lap or the knees. If you are using oils, take a couple of deep breaths before relaxing the hands. Now, in today's practice, we want to focus on the state of quieting our mind and really teaching ourselves how to get into that state of meditation. So a lot of people kind of get freaked out about that word meditation because they think they have to completely shut the mind off, and that is not the case. That'll never happen. We're human beings. But meditation is the act of training in awareness and getting a healthy sense of perspective. So you're not trying to turn off your thoughts or feelings. You're just learning to observe them without judgment, and eventually start to better understand them as well. Relax the hands. We often do a lot to train our body. We forget to train our mind. So before we get into our first pose, I encourage you just to take a few moments now. Set your intention for the practice. And as you do that, take your awareness to your breath, allowing the long, slow breaths. Inhaling, exhaling. Feeling the sit bones connecting to the mat, grounding into the earth. And even though we are in our homes and not necessarily on the ground, which of course would be the best, so we could feel the energy, just visualize and think about potentially being outside, in the ground, maybe in a space that you feel really great in. Allowing just a few more breaths here. On the next breath, gently open the eyes. We're going to come into butterfly pose, so feet together, knees wide. If you want to, depending on how the hips feel, you can use your bolster underneath the knees so it's not quite as intense. I've been having some hip issues lately, so I need to put the bolster underneath. All right, so from here, I want you to sit up nice and tall. I'm just going to set my timer. Allowing those nice inhales and exhales as you begin to lean forward into the pose as your body allows you to. Closing into the eyes and relaxing. Now, in today's practice, we're going to explore the kidney and the urinary bladder meridian. We've connected with them before. It's always a great opportunity on the mat. That's why I love meridian practices, is because it gives us a chance to really focus on areas of the body that are often taken for granted. I mean, really, how often do we focus on our organs and our cellular tissue that works so hard for us on a regular basis? This meridian is related to the element of water, the kidneys, and the urinary bladder. So I want you to focus on with each breath as if there's just warm water flowing over you, like waves of the ocean. Now, this meridian controls the reproductive organs, lower back health, urinary system, blood purification, and energetic vitality. Also related to the root and sacral chakras and the emotion of fear and wisdom. I want you to breathe strongly into these organs and emotions now. Remembering that each breath is really our life force. And so much healing can be done with the breath alone. And one of the most important things we can do for our health is to release fear, as fear negatively affects the immune system. Allowing your shoulders to relax away from the ears. Now, on the next breath, we'll slowly begin to rise. Now, rather than windshield wiper this time, because we want to stay in this space here, let's come down into a lying position, just nice and slow, as slow as you can. And we're going to stay in butterfly. So you'll lie down, feet together, knees wide. Now, again, use your bolster underneath the knees if you need to, as it can be a little bit more intense when we lie down. From here, finding the stillness, finding that gentle relaxation, and connect back to the water. You might even want to put your hands just below the belly button on the sacral chakra, just allowing your energy to be focused there. Now, in terms of psychology, the element of water is the energy of the baby, the philosopher, and the king. Now, this energy can be very powerful and potent, but when out of balance, can be very dangerous. The main emotion that causes problems when water is out of balance is fear. And fear, along with anger, which is the wood element, can be one of the most debilitating and dangerous emotions, as we have probably all experienced or witnessed over the last couple of years. So it's extremely important that we take time, as we are in our practice, to focus on releasing the energy of fear and tapping into our soul wisdom, that connection with the self or source energy, whatever higher power you believe in, even if it's simply Mother Earth. The neat part about being a soul having a human experience is that all of our answers are actually within us. And when we're feeling fearful, we just quiet our mind and tap in, and we feel safe again. But the secret is to tap in. Practice regularly, quieting the mind and trusting the soul. And even our body, made of lots of different cells, it's very intuitive, very energetic, and will speak to us if we listen. Now, on the next breath, let's bring the knees up using your hands if you need to, drawing the knees in towards the chest. Maybe a gentle rock from side to side just to relieve the back and the legs. And then here, when you're ready, you're going to extend your left leg and keep your right knee hugged in. Coming right into a nice stretch all along the low back. The glutes, back of the thighs slightly. Now, finding whatever position here feels good. You can just hug straight in, or sometimes it feels nice just to hug a little bit more off to the side. So drawing that knee up into the armpit a little bit. Just allowing yourself to just fully fall into the pose, embracing the feeling. And for a moment, taking that knee back up to the center, hands around the back of the thigh, extend the leg straight to the sky. So draw the toes towards your body, pushing your heel actively towards the sky. So a little bit more of an active yang style posture. Focus on the whole. And then when you're ready, you can bend into the knee, pull it back in towards the chest. And then switch to the other side. So from here, we're going to hug that left knee in, extend the right, hugging that knee in, finding that spot in the hip. Allowing those nice, steady, strong breaths here. And when you're ready, extend the leg, taking the hands behind the thigh, drawing the toes towards the shin, heel to the sky. When you're ready, release, bend into the knee, and hold it for just a few more breaths. Stretch in the low back. Now on the next breath, release that leg, and we'll slowly begin to rise up onto hands and knees for a moment and make our way into Sphinx pose. Elbows on the ground, underneath the shoulders. You can use the bolster underneath the rib cage. Come into that nice back bend. Feet about hip distance apart. Now, the sequence today of different postures has been specifically designed to connect with the bladder, kidney, and urinary bladder meridian. And working through the kidney and bladder meridians with these poses will help us emerge from loneliness, depression, and fear into hope, growth, and abundance. I want you to really focus on the energy of hope, growth, and abundance. In the depth of water, if you can hope for one small thing that can help pull you out of the water. And that's what you need when you're in that deep. It only requires you to believe that the possibility for change exists. This is the power of water. It is the start. It is the place where all potential lies. So because it's connected with the root and the sacral chakra, it's our foundation of which all of our other chakras are built. This pose really stimulates the kidney meridian. This passive back bend, like the Sphinx, stimulate kidney chi, revitalizing your energy supply. So that's why when we allow the belly and the organs to just fall to the ground, keeping our legs and buttocks relaxed, if we're feeling low energy, you can just pop right into Sphinx during at any time during the day and realign that energy. Breath, gently release here. Take the hands underneath the shoulder. I want you to come back into child's pose for a moment. So big toes together, knees nice and wide, forehead comes to the ground just for a couple of breaths. And from here, we're going to come forward, lifting our head up a little bit. You can take a look at me if you want to, but we're going to start by just taking the palms of our hands kind of on the cheekbones with the palms over our eyes. So staying here for a few breaths. Just feeling our head heavy in the hands, very relaxing pose. Now, staying here for as long as you wish. Then also another shift we can make is taking the thumbs right to the inside of the eye sockets, right on the bridge of the nose. And just sort of gently allowing the thumbs to press in there, of course, making sure we're not hurting ourselves. But this right here is the beginning of the kidney and bladder meridian. So as we press our thumbs to this area, it starts to stimulate that energy line. breath. Back off a little bit, drawing your knees, your hips a little closer to your feet. And let's step your right hand off to the right and your left hand over top of that right hand, allowing yourself to stretch through the left. So we're going to start to drop the left shoulder to the ground, maybe even resting the head on the left arm, whatever feels good. Or forehead can come to the ground as well. Taking a few nice breaths here. Resting an opening from the side. Feeling the flow of the breath. Staying connected to that healthy flow of the water. And the next breath, slowly begin to rise up. And allowing yourself just to go to the other side. So walking the left hand over far to the left, right hand on top of that left hand, sinking down into the right, noticing if this side feels any different. Finding that breath as we go right into the right side. Maybe resting the head on the arm or forehead to the ground. Really watch that the shoulder stays down, kind of just drawing away, even though we're kind of overhead, just keep the shoulder drawing away from the ears. Just trying not to scrunch that shoulder up towards the ears. On the next breath, slowly begin to rise. Come on up to hands and knees and just wiggle those hips a little bit. All right, from here, let's have a seat. We're going to start with the legs extended straight out. And And then from here, we're going to take the right leg and cross it. So cross that right ankle above the knee. So higher on the thigh, not on the joint, higher on the thigh, or if you need to, lower than the knee. So either above or below the knee. So we're going to come into that seated figure 4 position, making any adjustments that you need to here, sitting up nice and tall to start. Now, when you sit up tall, you might already feel that length in the hip. Okay, now if you can, leaning into the stretch, allowing the knee to relax. Now this sort of forward fold position stimulates the urinary bladder meridian, which we talked about. Starts inside the eyes, goes up the forehead, across the crown, and enters the brain. Runs down the back body, parallel to the spine. One branch goes into the body at the lumbar spine, so the lower back, and connects with the urinary bladder. Now, some outer branches run all the way down the back of the legs and end at the little toe. So as we forward fold, connecting to the meridian line in the back, and with that leg connected, or in this position, we connect to the line that runs down the legs. Water, calmness of the body and the mind, tapping into that internal wisdom. On the next breath, slowly begin to rise. Now we're going to lean back slightly, and all I want you to do is lift your knee up. Place the left foot on the opposite side of that, the right foot on the opposite side of that left knee. Now from here, we're going to sit up tall and slowly start to turn towards the right, hugging that knee in towards the chest. Now you can clasp with both hands here, or you can take your right hand behind you and going a little deeper into that stretch, sitting up tall. Even though we're in this rotation, really important to stay breathing. Breath, slowly begin to unwind, coming back to center. Gently extend into that right leg, giving those legs a shake, releasing the hips. And let's move on to the other side. So bending into that left leg, noticing how it feels on this side. sitting up nice and tall first. Sometimes just sitting tall and get that stretch. Now the key here, we want to make sure that we are relaxing that bent leg. So if you feel that you're kind of tensing, so as you sit, sometimes it's tempting to tense into the muscles here, but let's just fully and gently relax. So sending your breath to wherever you feel this stretch the most. Maybe it's on the left hip, maybe it's in the back of the right leg. Maybe you feel in the low back, wherever you feel it, send your breath there. The more we practice, the more we get comfortable with the stillness. There's a lot of people that can't handle yin yoga because of the amount of stillness that's involved. And unfortunately, those are the people that need it the most. So just really embrace the fact and really give yourself thanks and gratitude for even knowing that you come to your mat every week. You're able to find the stillness and take care of your mind and body in this way. So we're going to bring the knee up. Left foot comes to the ground, sitting up tall, hugging that left knee in, clasping the hands, rotating to the left. Remember here, see if you can relax that leg. Allowing it to completely embrace the pose. On the next breath, completely relaxed. Let's extend the legs right out, shaking the legs. And from here, in this position, sitting tall and coming into our forward fold. So from here, leaning forward, coming into a big surrender. So we're going to start by keeping our back straight, leaning forward as much as we can. Ideally, the back stays straight here as much as possible. We let the belly fall to the thighs. And then once you're in that position, you let everything surrender. So as long as it feels okay to let the head down, and just completely relax. Just remember, there are 3 principles in yin yoga. The first is to come into the pose to your appropriate edge. So really just allowing those lengthening sensations to be there, but without feeling overwhelmed or placing too much effort on the body. So while we're here in this forward fold, really focus on breathing into the back of the legs, the back, the kidneys, and the urinary bladder, sending them all healing energy. Now, the second principle of yin yoga is to become still. Muscular engaged, so we're saying focus on protecting the body, but stretched and mentally willing to surrender to the experience. So we're continuing to breathe into the back of the body. And the third principle of yin yoga is to hold the pose for an extended period of time. So that's why we don't hold active poses for that long. We get into the poses where we can just surrender our body, lengthening our muscles and connective tissue. We want to be able to hold each posture for 3 or more minutes. Sometimes postures in yin yoga are held up to 6 or 10 minutes. Breath. Come on up. And this time we're going to take our hands behind our back, just so you can support yourself as you roll the chest up to the sky. See if you can drop your head back, be aware of the neck, and coming in up to center. So from here, I want you to grab your bolster if it's not close by, and we'll take the bolster underneath, just between the heels and the hips, and come to lay down. Now, once you're here, we're going to pop the hips up onto the bolster, just underneath the sacrum. Draw the knees in towards the chest, and then take the legs up to the sky. So coming into a nice inversion. Hands can rest on the belly, focusing on the sacral chakra, or by your side, palms open. Now, the sensation that we want here is literally just the legs to be floating in the sky. Now, if this is too much as far as effort, just bend into the knees and get to a point where it's relaxing for you. But the goal is to get a bit of inversion here, allowing the blood to flow back to the core center. Feeling relaxed. Now, this is a wonderful pose for anti-anxiety or even dealing with that negative emotion of fear. Just something about putting the legs up the wall or keeping the legs up that tells our body we're safe, we're okay. There's nothing to worry about. So when you're here with the eyes closed, tap into the wisdom of your body. Maybe just simply ask, what do I need to know in this moment? See what comes up, whether it's a picture, a word, a feeling. hugging the knees in towards the chest, just fully releasing. And when you're ready, just taking that bolster away from underneath the hips. Set the feet down gently on the floor just for a moment, just enough to lift the hips up and push them over to the left, and drop the knees to the right. Now you might find in this position you want your bolster underneath the knees, or maybe even between the knees, a block or a bolster. Coming into that gentle rotation. Now these last few poses are such a great opportunity to send your body a little love, gratitude for being here and for what it does. I like to think about our body as the house that our soul resides in. It's always important to ask, how do we want our house to be? Healthy, energetic, lengthened, relaxed, happy, joyful. And we can focus on those emotions and feelings here in our practice. Now on the next breath, gently draw everything back to the center. So one knee at a time, hugging the knees gently in towards the chest. Let's just realign the spine, gently rocking side to side. And on the next breath, gently set the feet back down onto the ground. Shift your hips up and over to the right, and allowing the knees to fall to the left. Final rotation here before coming into Shavasana. Feeling how this rotation really helps to improve the mobility of our spine. Healthy mobility of the spine is to be able to rotate 90 degrees from side to side, 45 degrees from side to side. Really important to keep our spine healthy with postures like this. Making sure there's no pain, pressure, or torquing on the low back. I want to feel this rotation a little higher up in the thoracic spine. And the next breath, gently lift one knee at a time. Shifting the hips back to the center, drawing the knees in towards the chest, nice and easy, rocking side to side. Now from here, extend the legs to the ground. Settling into Shavasana. Now to start, I'm ask you to place your left hand on your forehead as if you're taking your temperature, so palm on the forehead. And then your right hand, just lift your head and put it right underneath the base of your skull. I want you just to fully relax here in this position. Now we're going to hold here for about a minute. And this position helps release the emotional residue of water, which is fear. Now in this moment, you can bring to mind something you're working with, maybe something that's causing you fear, or just allow the hold to do its magic. When you feel ready, you can stay in this position or just take your arms down to your sides. I invite you to take a deep breath when you're comfortable and begin to close your eyes if you haven't already. Take a moment to imagine yourself being more calm, peaceful, and focused. And as you allow your unconscious mind to naturally conjure an image of what that would feel like, consider what you might be seeing. What are you hearing? And what are you feeling that shows you are more calm, peaceful, and focused? And perhaps you are already feeling more calm, peaceful, and focused. If not, notice that your unconscious mind can reveal how you might do this. Now think of a simple way to incorporate this feeling of calm into your life in the days and the weeks ahead. And after you have done that, know that it can be really easy to create a little more peace and calm in your life. Taking just a few moments now to breathe and just really enjoy and embrace this peace and calm. Allowing your next breath or two to be a little bit deeper. begin to listen to the sounds around you and start to wiggle fingers and toes. When you're ready, hug the knees in towards the chest, releasing the back, gently moving from side to side. And when you're ready, rolling off to fetal position, resting the head on the arm, hugging the knees in towards the chest on the side. And when you're ready, coming up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. Keeping the eyes closed for a moment if you can. And if you are using an oil, I'm going to finish up with Aroma Touch. Really nice, relaxing blend. Really nice one for massage. Now, even if you're using oil, if you're not using oil, I want you to rub the palms of your hands together. And if you're using oil, just cup the hands around the nose. And if you're not using oil, the hands can go around the eyes. Hands can go around the eyes. Even if you are using oil, just make sure you don't get any in the eyes. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. And allowing the hands to fall away to the heart center. Bowing into the hands. Take a moment now just to reflect how you felt during the practice and the short closing meditation. Maybe just notice and reflect on what you learned about yourself. Remember this week to focus on practicing meditation, even just a couple of minutes a day of silence, and you'll begin to see positive transformations in your mind, body, and soul. Wishing you all much love, light, and many blessings. Namaste.